Viewers, welcome back this morning to the Tobago Updates morning show. Our guest this morning is Ms. Kezel Jackson, former deputy political leader of the PDP Trinidad. And our topic for discussion this morning is Rowley's unspoken political games, or the Prime Minister's unspoken political games. Good morning and welcome to you this morning.
Thank you, Rhea. Good morning to you as well as Tobago Updates. Yes?
Now, I'm not even sure where to start this morning. Mm-hmm. Now, Ms. Jackson, it's good to have you on the program with us this morning. We're talking about unspoken political games. Unspoken political games, you would say by the...
Mm-hmm. By our present Prime Minister.
By our present or current Prime Minister. Mm-hmm. But there's some who would say, but Kezel Jackson, you're the one playing political games
of course. Here. We are all on the board of chess. We are all on the board of chess, just different pieces and different players. So yes, I'm on that board as well.
Now, quite recent, you did a live where you spoke about the games that you believe the current Prime Minister is playing. But you also sounded as though you were in support of the current Chief Secretary, Farley Augustine, when quite recently, in fact, in several of the lives that you produced, you spoke against him in no uncertain terms. Is it that we are to believe that you have shifted sides?
All right, let me explain. Because common enemy, common identity. We have a common enemy, and that is our Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley. We have to understand who really is Keith Christopher Rowley. Now, Farley Chavez Augustine, Chief Secretary, Watson Solomon Duke, political leader of the PDP, they are still new to Keith Christopher Rowley. Since 2003, I have been exposed to the PNM and the workings of the PNM. I have been a political writer since 2003. A lot of persons do not understand my history. So I am coming with a wealth of information, and pay attention to the pattern of the pieces. Now, Keith Christopher Rowley, at that time, I'm going back now for you to understand before I go forward. Right. He was the Minister of Trade, Labor. He was then revoked. His position was revoked. Remember when the Prime Minister came out, the then Prime Minister, God rest his soul, Patrick Manning came out and spoke about the raging bull. Rowley would have come out and said that when he was speaking to Kamala, he said to her, I am from Mason Hall, close to Lekoto. Remember what happened to the last person that put me out of anywhere. Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley, he was in fact, it was as though he was boasting about necromancy and black magic. To what extent? Because Patrick Manning would have suffered a stroke. Pay attention to the thread, Rhea. On the 23rd, he was revoked. On the 23rd of another month, Patrick Manning would have suffered a stroke. And when he got that victory, he won 23 seats. People don't understand that is much more than the physical. There's a lot that takes place, and it is taboo about necromancy and bad and black magic. Now, what Dr. Keith Rowley is doing right now, he's playing mastermind, because he's a strategist. I must give him that. He's a political strategist. Now he's playing the mastermind and acting as though he's off the board. How so? When Keith Christopher Rowley would have lost to the PDP 14-1, that was not the end of him. Remember, he said on a platform, the last person that put me out of anywhere, look at what happened to them. So the last island that put him out of anywhere, pay attention to his own words. History have a way of repeating itself. Pay attention to people's pattern. What is Rowley hoping to achieve? Now, when the debacle take place between Farley Augustine and Watson Solomon Duke, he was unusually silent. Why is that? We have to understand also the psychology behind sometimes power and persons. Now, Farley Chavez Augustine would have been very new. So he would have been like a political virgin in the political arena. Having some level of respect and esteem for our Prime Minister, because there was subliminal respect that he would have had as a young man looking up to another Black Prime Minister, probably hoping with political ambitions to reach there someday. Keith Christopher Rowley, on the other hand, paying attention to the players. He must get a Trojan horse. What he would have done, understanding the psychology behind his actions, which is repetitive, he divides to conquer. So he would have been penetrating the dear Farley Chavez Augustine, acting like he had good intentions, befriending him, maybe telling him, well, boy, you are a better leader. You may not have need Watson Solomon Duke. You should go for it. When the debacle took place, when the 13 resigned, there were a lot of talk among the political pundits. There were a lot of talk around the political thinkers. But pay attention, the Prime Minister remained unusually silent at that time. Why at that time he did not say anything? All were speaking, all were making, political noise at that time. People were questioning. I myself came forward and spoke that it was morally wrong. It was a vulgar breach, and I still stand in that position, a vulgar breach of the democratic will of the people. However, he said absolutely nothing. He sat and he waited. Strategy again. He waited for what? The registration of the Tobago People's Party. Because what would that mean? That there is a new political party in the arena of the equation. Will that divide the PNM? Oh no, it's not dividing the PNM, because it is an internal division between the PDP and the TPP. Now, when we begin to divide from one, there's less. We are not dividing from the greater set, which is the PNM voters, as opposed to the PDP voters. It is just the PDP voters being split in two. When they register that party, of course, he'll want to signal an election. Not that it is legally imperative to happen, because by no means an election will happen. There will be no election. But he would want to instigate. He would want to basically fan the flames, wake up that flame to cause chaos and confusion in the space of Tobago and in the minds of Tobagonians.
Question.
Yes, please.
What does Kezel Jackson gain by... Why do you feel that you need to be the one to bring this information to the viewers or to the public, considering your history with the PDP? Why do you feel that you need to be the one?
Because my history has been a common history. Now, what I would have is experience. We have a lot of inexperienced politicians right now in THA. What I'm also bringing to the table is the same thing that I brought to the table initially. My mantra has not changed. My political ideology has not changed. I came into politics to fight against the ultimate bully, the dictator, Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley. That has not changed.
What do you stand to gain from all of this? Is this the prelude to a political party?
No. We'll go to that just now. It is very unfair when you have players that don't understand the game. If you're playing cricket, you expect the players to understand cricket. You expect cricketers. You don't expect footballers to come and cricket. If you're playing basketball, you expect the players to know about basketball. But I am sitting down and I am watching and I'm analyzing the games of Keith Christopher Rowley that maybe the players are not cognizant of.
So you believe that it is your duty?
Because what will happen, Rhea, pay attention to it, right? We can mark it down now in history. If an election is called, I might tell you no election will be called, but if an election is called, PDP nor TPP will regain power of Tobago. Tobago will go back into the hands of the oppressor. If an election is called today, with all certainty, the Prime Minister understands that Tobago will come back into his hand.
And you believe that is the ultimate goal?
That is his ultimate goal.
All right, I asked a question earlier. What do you
You hear I
stand...
say gold, G-O-L-D.
Not
And I didn't say
G-O-A-L.
gold. Yes, gold. That's what he's playing for.
Gold. What is your ultimate objective here? Is
To
there
open the eyes of both the electorate and the leaders. We have no winners. We have no winners. There's no winner in the TPP and there's no winner in the PDP. What you also have, there are a number of supporters who just will not come out and vote. Because remember that debacle would have caused some persons to become disenchanted, disillusioned, and they say, well, they came with so much grandiose ideas. They came out there and we give them everything. We rallied behind them. And look at the party now, divided into two. So there will be some persons that just will not vote at all. You would lose some voters. At this point in time, the both leaders have to understand that they are being played. So you are seeing as though Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley right now is playing into Watson Duke's corner. Almost as though he's trying to fire up Watson Duke, fire him up to cause a greater division now. It's like you're trying to play with old wounds that is not properly healed. You're digging into old wounds that is not properly healed. Why now? Why now he is calling for an election? Why not then?
You are no longer affiliated with the PDP.
No, I am not.
No. Is there a desire, is there a hope to align yourself with the TPP?
No, I have no hope in aligning myself with the TPP. What I want to give is information, because they were also once my colleagues. Listen to me.
Have you sought to meet with the members of the TPP?
I can't say that right now, right? I prefer not to answer that question. But we have to remember, Rhea, that Farley Chavez Augustine, he's not my enemy. Watson Solomon Duke, he is not my enemy. Forget about personality and person. We are speaking about a national war. We are speaking about power. We are speaking about politics. We are speaking about pride. And we are speaking about a country that is constantly oppressed by a dictator that will use any means necessary to retain power, to restool his position in Tobago.
There are some who would say that this present administration or the previous under the PDP would have put themselves in the position that they are in at this point. You are alluding that the Prime Minister would have fanned the flames.
Of course, he was fanning in the background.
Would have worked black magic. Would have worked.
Of course, he was doing. He said it himself.
To create what we see today.
I am saying that without an apology. I am saying that without an apology.
Okay. What is it that you would like the people of Tobago to take note of, our viewers, those in Trinidad, those in Tobago? What would be the one message that you would want them to remember, if nothing else, from Kezel Jackson this morning?
Remember the power of prayer. Now is a time more than ever to begin to pray. Now is a time to turn away from black magic and necromancy and understand that judgment is for all of us. Now is a time for us to come together, those of us who really want a better Trinidad and Tobago. I'm not isolating Tobago from Trinidad. A better Trinidad and Tobago, to put aside ego, to put aside pride. Here, how many times I'm alluding to this? To put aside personality and to put aside the desire for ultimate power. Now is the time.
Okay. Well, we want to thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us this morning.
You're most welcome, Rhea.
All right. The live persons have several comments.
Sure.
I'm gonna. Yeah. I think most persons at the end of the day are wondering. Just lost it.
Sure.
Why? Well, the purpose of the interview this morning.
Right. Persons that can't see purpose still probably caught up in partisan politics. We are not talking about party. We are talking about country. We are talking about an island that is going back into the hands of a dictator if we are not cognizant to the games of Keith Christopher Rowley. When Tobagonians would have rallied together, you all came together to fight against an oppressor. You all collectively came together by consensual agreement. You all placed your ballot. It was never ever seen before in history. In 21 years, you all got rid of the PNM. Do you really want to put the PNM back into power? This is a question that you all can ask yourself.
I have a question on the live here.
Sure.
A viewer is asking, what steps would you advise Fali to take to fix the problems?
Good question. He's young and he's still very much inexperienced. He need not one advisor, but he need a body of advisors. You're playing against a seasoned opponent, one that has many years ahead of you, one that is a strategist that will work via the night. When you're sleeping in the night, he's working in the night. You need advisors, collective advisors. You need a strong legal team as well. Because this issue that I'm seeing with the EMA Act as opposed to the THA Act, that as well, I think he's ill-advised on that. He needs to get a strong legal team. Because remember, the THA is an administrator of Tobago. That means that you all would have the responsibility of environmental responsibilities as well. So in saying that the THA have to exclude the EMA and has ultimate power over the EMA would be erroneous. That decision with building the bridge in the sea could not have been a unilateral decision. A CEC was needed from EMA. But again, with proper advisors, not one, because there are a lot of ambiguity that is surrounding the Tobago House of Assembly Act, a lot of ambiguity. But he needs a collective, a body of advisors. He may have all the right intentions, good intentions, but he needs experience from persons who would come with that. Yes?
Right, I'm finally here. Why so much interest in Tobago at this point, Kezel Jackson?
I have always had interest in Tobago. I wish for Tobagonians to stop separating and saying, why so much interest in Tobago? Because we are Trinidad and Tobago.
I know, but all of a sudden...
Not all of a sudden. I have always had interest in Tobago. Not now, not yesterday, years ago. Remember, my grandmother is also Tobagonian. I am much a part of Tobago's culture. And it is time for us to stop the you against me and the we against he and the she against he. Because we are one country. Two islands, yes, but one country. We have to stop the separation. We have to stop the division. If we are moving forward together, if we are moving forward as one country, then we must change first our mentality.
All right. Thank you so much. We're going to leave it there. But thank you again for being on the program with us this morning.
No problem, Rhea.
All right. So viewers, lots more coming up on the Tobago Updates morning show. And we want to thank Ms. Jackson for being with us this morning. We're going to shift gears, viewers, as we chat with Dr. Stephen Shepherd, who is the CEO of the Tobago Hospitality and Tourism Industry. And joining us is Megnath Gosain, the Corporate Executive Manager of Kariri. And the focus this morning is on hospitality and tourism industry training sessions. So lots more coming up on the Tobago Updates morning show. So share the live, share the live, share the live.